Installing a steam unit in a closet can present several code concerns that must be addressed to ensure safety and compliance. It's essential to review both building codes and the National Electrical Code, specifically sections 406.9 and 406.8, along with applicable exceptions. Firstly, building codes may have restrictions on electrical devices in closets. Local building code should be consulted for specific requirements. Secondly, the National Electrical Code section 406.9 states that electrical equipment shall not be installed in a closed closet or in other spaces where easily ignitable materials are stored. This regulation is in place to prevent fire hazards associated with the proximity of electrical equipment to flammable materials. Thirdly, National Electrical Code section 406.8 stipulates that electrical equipment installed in concealed spaces shall be accessible without removing any part of the building structure or finish. This is crucial for maintenance and repairs. There is an exception to National Electrical Code section 406.9, which is exception number 2. Electrical equipment for clothes dryers, ironing, or similar purposes may be installed in a closet provided the space in the closet is dedicated solely to such equipment. This exception is relevant only if the steam unit can be classified under similar purposes and the closet is exclusively used for it. Beyond code requirements, several important considerations should be evaluated. One key aspect is the enclosed space. The confined nature of a closet can create a potentially hazardous environment for electrical equipment because of limited ventilation and the potential buildup of heat. Proper ventilation is vital to dissipate heat and prevent moisture accumulation. Another consideration is the ignition source. Stored materials in the closet, such as clothing or towels, could potentially become ignition sources if the steam unit malfunctions or overheats. Minimizing or eliminating such materials is crucial for safety. Accessibility is another key factor. Ensuring accessibility for maintenance and repairs can be challenging in a concealed space. The unit needs to be easily reached without extensive disassembly of the closet or surrounding structures. Because of these concerns, the following recommendations should be considered. Consult with a qualified electrician to assess the specific installation and address any potential code concerns. A professional electrician can provide expertise and ensure that all installations are compliant with local and national regulations. Installing the steam unit in an alternative location with better ventilation and accessibility should be considered. Open areas or spaces designed for electrical equipment may be more suitable. However, if installing in a closet is necessary, the following measures should be taken. Dedicate the closet solely to the steam unit to minimize the risk of ignition. Remove all other stored items to reduce potential fire hazards. Provide adequate ventilation in the closet to dissipate heat and prevent moisture buildup. This can be achieved through vents, fans, or other means of air circulation. Install an accessible panel in the closet to allow for maintenance and repairs without removing the closet structure. This ensures that the unit can be serviced without significant disruption. And install a smoke detector in the closet to provide early warning of any potential fire hazards. A smoke detector can alert occupants in the event of a malfunction or overheating. When assessing a steam unit installation in the closet, it is imperative to consider all applicable codes and safety measures. The primary concerns revolve around preventing fire hazards, ensuring accessibility, and providing adequate ventilation. By adhering to National Electrical Code guidelines and building codes, and by incorporating the recommendations provided, the installation can be performed safely and in compliance with regulations. In addition to the previously mentioned code sections and considerations, several other factors and best practices can further enhance the safety and compliance of installing a steam unit within a closet. These supplementary points address potential hazards, specific component requirements, and ongoing maintenance considerations. Proper wiring is critical to ensure the steam units operate safely and efficiently. The wiring must be of the appropriate gauge to handle the electrical load of the unit. Consult the manufacturer's specifications to determine the correct wire size. Use appropriately rated connectors and ensure all connections are secure and properly insulated. This prevents overheating and potential electrical shorts. The installation should include ground fault circuit interrupter protection. A ground fault circuit interrupter is essential for preventing electrical shock hazards in damp or wet environments, such as those created by a steam unit. A ground fault circuit interrupter detects any leakage current to ground and quickly disconnects the power, minimizing the risk of injury. Ensure the ground fault circuit interrupter is easily accessible for testing and resetting. Consider using arc fault circuit interrupter protection as well. An arc fault circuit interrupter provides additional protection against electrical fires caused by arcing faults. These devices detect abnormal electrical arcs, which can occur due to damaged or degraded wiring, and quickly shut off the circuit. Arc fault circuit interrupters are particularly useful in older buildings where wiring may be compromised. All electrical boxes and enclosures must be properly rated for the environment. Use enclosures that are suitable for damp or humid conditions to protect electrical components from moisture. Ensure that all boxes are securely mounted and properly sealed to prevent water ingress. Select materials that are resistant to corrosion and degradation from heat and humidity. Adequate ventilation is crucial for preventing heat buildup and moisture accumulation. Install ventilation fans to circulate air within the closet. Ensure that the fans are appropriately sized for the space and operate quietly to minimize noise. Position the fans to effectively exhaust warm, moist air and draw in cooler, drier air. Regular inspection and maintenance are essential for ensuring the continued safe operation of the steam unit. Schedule regular inspections of the unit and its electrical connections. Check for signs of wear, damage, or corrosion. Test the ground fault circuit interrupter and the arc fault circuit interrupter periodically to ensure they are functioning correctly. Keep the area around the steam unit clean and free of obstructions. Remove any combustible materials that may have been inadvertently stored in the closet. Ensure that the steam unit is easily accessible for servicing and maintenance. Consider the placement of the unit to facilitate easy access to components and connections. Provide adequate lighting to improve visibility during inspections and repairs. Label all electrical panels and components clearly to facilitate easy identification and maintenance. Use durable labels that are resistant to fading or peeling. Clearly indicate the purpose of each circuit breaker and the location of the steam unit disconnect switch. Conduct regular testing of safety devices, such as the smoke detector and ground fault circuit interrupter. Ensure that these devices are functioning correctly and replace them as needed. Document all inspections, maintenance, and repairs. Keep a record of all work performed on the steam unit and its electrical components. This documentation can be useful for future troubleshooting and for demonstrating compliance with safety regulations. In summary, installing a steam unit in a closet requires careful attention to detail and strict adherence to electrical and building codes. By addressing potential fire hazards, ensuring accessibility, providing adequate ventilation, and implementing regular maintenance practices, the installation can be performed safely and in compliance with the regulations. Consulting with a qualified electrician is essential to ensure that all applicable codes are met and that the installation is performed correctly. Ignoring these precautions can lead to dangerous conditions, including electrical shocks and fires. Following these comprehensive guidelines ensures a safe and functional steam unit installation in any environment. The following points provide further detailed recommendations, focusing on specific components, installation techniques, and long-term safety considerations for steam unit installations in closets. Electrical load calculations are very important. Properly calculate the electrical load of the steam unit to ensure that the existing electrical circuit can handle the additional load. Overloading a circuit can lead to overheating and potential fire hazards. Consult with an electrician to determine the appropriate circuit breaker size and wire gauge for the steam unit. Ensure compliance with National Electrical Code requirements for load calculations. Overcurrent protection is important. Install a dedicated circuit breaker for the steam unit to provide overcurrent protection. The circuit breaker should be sized appropriately for the load of the steam unit and comply with National Electrical Code requirements. Ensure that the circuit breaker is easily accessible for resetting in case of a trip. Dedicated circuit considerations are important. Use a dedicated circuit for the steam unit to prevent interference with other electrical appliances. Sharing a circuit with other appliances can lead to voltage drops and potential malfunctions. A dedicated circuit ensures that the steam unit receives a stable and reliable power supply. Wiring methods are important. Use appropriate wiring methods for the steam unit installation. Conduit is a common wiring method that provides protection against physical damage. Use the appropriate type of conduit for the environment, such as rigid metal conduit or electrical metallic tubing. Ensure that all conduit connections are secure and properly grounded. Secure and protect wiring is very important. Secure and protect the wiring to prevent damage from physical contact or environmental factors. Use cable ties or clamps to secure the wiring to the structure. Protect the wiring from sharp edges or abrasive surfaces. Ensure that the wiring is properly supported to prevent sagging or strain. Consider the location of the disconnect switch. Install a disconnect switch near the steam unit to allow for easy disconnection of power during maintenance or emergencies. The disconnect switch should be readily accessible and clearly labeled. Ensure that the disconnect switch is rated for the voltage and current of the steam unit. Labeling of electrical components is important. Label all electrical panels, circuit breakers, and disconnect switches clearly to facilitate easy identification and maintenance. Use durable labels that are resistant to fading or peeling. Clearly indicate the purpose of each circuit breaker and the location of the steam unit disconnect switch. Use appropriate electrical boxes. Use electrical boxes that are rated for the environment and provide adequate space for wiring connections. Choose boxes that are made of non-combustible materials. Ensure that all boxes are securely mounted and properly grounded. Inspect wiring regularly. Inspect the wiring and electrical connections regularly to check for signs of damage or wear. Look for frayed wires, loose connections, or corroded terminals. Repair or replace any damaged wiring or components immediately. Test grounding connections regularly. Test the grounding connections regularly to ensure that they are effective. Use a multimeter to measure the resistance between the ground wire and the grounding electrode. The resistance should be low, typically less than 5 ohms. Address potential bonding issues. Address potential bonding issues to ensure that all metal parts of the steam unit and its associated equipment are properly bonded to ground. Bonding helps to equalize electrical potential and prevent electrical shock hazards. Use bonding jumpers to connect metal parts together. Ensure proper clearance is maintained. Maintain proper clearance around the steam unit and its electrical components to prevent overheating and allow for easy access. Follow the manufacturer's recommendations for clearance requirements. Avoid storing combustible materials near the steam unit. Fire stopping is very important. Implement fire stopping measures to prevent the spread of fire through openings in walls or ceilings. Use fire-rated sealant to seal any gaps or penetrations around wiring or conduit. Ensure that the fire-stopping materials are compatible with the surrounding materials. Professional inspections are critical. Schedule professional inspections of the steam unit installation to ensure compliance with electrical and building codes. A qualified electrician can identify potential hazards and recommend corrective actions. Address any issues identified during the inspection promptly. Documentation of work done is essential. Document all electrical work performed on the steam unit, including wiring diagrams, load calculations, and inspection reports. Keep this documentation in a safe and accessible location. This documentation can be useful for future troubleshooting and for demonstrating compliance with safety regulations. The following section delves into specific considerations for ventilation, moisture control, and material selection to optimize safety and longevity. Ensure proper airflow. Ensure proper airflow within the closet to prevent heat buildup and moisture accumulation. Provide both intake and exhaust vents to promote air circulation. Size the vents appropriately for the size of the closet and the heat output of the steam unit. Consider installing a ventilation fan to enhance airflow. Use moisture-resistant materials. Use moisture-resistant materials for the construction of the closet and the installation of the steam unit. Choose materials that are resistant to mold and mildew growth. Avoid using materials that can absorb moisture, such as untreated wood. Sealing of surfaces is recommended. Seal all surfaces within the closet to prevent moisture from penetrating into the walls and ceiling. Use a waterproof sealant to seal any gaps or cracks. Apply a moisture-resistant coating to the walls and ceiling. Humidity control is a necessity. Implement humidity control measures to prevent the excessive moisture buildup in the closet. Install a dehumidifier to remove excess moisture from the air. Ensure that the dehumidifier is properly sized for the size of the closet. Regular cleaning is recommended. Clean the closet regularly to remove any dust, dirt, or debris. Use a mild detergent and water to clean the surfaces. Avoid using harsh chemicals or abrasive cleaners that could damage the materials. Implement mold prevention measures. Implement mold prevention measures to prevent the growth of mold and mildew in the closet. Use mold-resistant paint or coatings. Apply a fungicide to the surfaces to inhibit mold growth. Inspect the closet regularly for signs of mold or mildew. Adequate insulation is needed. Ensure adequate insulation in the walls and ceiling of the closet to prevent heat loss and condensation. Use insulation materials that are resistant to moisture and mold. Seal any gaps or cracks in the insulation to prevent air leakage. Vapor barriers are important. Install vapor barriers to prevent moisture from migrating into the walls and ceiling. Use vapor barriers that are made of polyethylene or other waterproof materials. Overlap the vapor barrier seams and seal them with tape. Use corrosion-resistant fasteners. Use corrosion-resistant fasteners for all connections within the closet. Choose fasteners that are made of stainless steel or other corrosion-resistant materials. Avoid using fasteners that can rust or corrode. Inspect the closet regularly for signs of moisture damage or corrosion. Conduct thermal imaging scans. Conduct thermal imaging scans to identify any areas of excessive heat buildup or moisture accumulation. Use a thermal imaging camera to scan the walls, ceiling, and floor of the closet. Address any issues identified during the thermal imaging scan promptly. Implement monitoring systems. Implement monitoring systems to track temperature and humidity levels within the closet. Install sensors to monitor temperature and humidity. Set up alerts to notify you if temperature or humidity levels exceed predetermined thresholds. Evaluate impact of chemicals. Evaluate the impact of chemicals used in steam on materials within the closet. The steam may contain chemicals that can degrade or corrode certain materials. Choose materials that are resistant to the effects of these chemicals. Ventilation should be considered during steam use. Consider ventilation during steam use to prevent excessive humidity buildup. Open the closet door slightly to allow moisture to escape. Turn on a ventilation fan to enhance airflow. Educate users on proper steam unit operation and safety. Provide clear instructions on how to operate the steam unit safely. Emphasize the importance of proper ventilation and moisture control. Advise users to avoid storing combustible materials in the closet. In summary, careful selection of materials, implementation of moisture control measures, and attention to ventilation are essential for ensuring the safety and longevity of the steam unit installation. By following these recommendations, you can minimize the risk of moisture damage, mold growth, and corrosion, and create a safe and comfortable environment.